pray love.
You live your time. Have many friends, many efforts. You will have to manage this one long, one short.
Am I in the long one or the short one?
Can that also you will lose all your money paying in Netflix to them. Don't worry, you will get it all back again. And you will come back to Bali and live here for 3 or 4 months and teach me English.
That is a great movie for a Okay, so COP presentation. That scene, I've watched the movie like many times, and when he reads her palm, or like palmistry is another word for palm reading, it got me to thinking about like how much a few years ago I wanted to get my palm read, and I don't really necessarily believe in what's said during a palm reading, but I always wanted to see what it basically said about my future. I remember my sister and my dad actually got their palms read when they went to Puerto Rico, and one of the things was that my dad was supposed to be remarried, and my sister's was that she would have a career change, and my dad's was wrong so far, but my sister's was right because she was actually going for a nursing degree and then changed it to a psychology major instead. And so that got me into thinking about how does the knowledge of our future actually affect our reasoning when we're making choices and we're making decisions. And so that's why I picked Eat, Pray, Love, because when Elizabeth is told her future from Ketut, it goes on to kind of show that mostly from what he said, it actually happened. She had a really big decline in money when she went off to go look at Italy and India and Bali. And she had one short marriage, and now it's believed that the marriage that she's in right now is her long one. And so I wondered if she made those decisions and if she made the choices that she made after she went with Ketut actually affected what she did, because she already kind of knew what her future would hold. And so I looked at the self-fulfilling prophecy in psychology, and it says that it is a prediction that actually causes itself to become true. So it's mostly when an individual believes in something that's somewhat false, but they go about decisions and choices that basically make it true in the end. It makes the outcome of that belief true. And one of the requirements that it said that it would be, that would said that it had to happen, was that there must be consequences that make reality conform to the belief. So it's basically saying that the person has to put themselves in situations where there is different consequences that can arise that can ultimately direct them in the belief that they feel is true, but will most likely be false until they actually let it happen. And this prophecy stems from the Thomas theorem, which is if men define situations as real, they are real in their consequences. And the Thomas theorem, as well as this one, not only look at the situation that they put themselves in that go to that belief, but also the meaning that an individual takes from each situation that they're in that they believe will contribute to the belief that they hold. And one example that I found was conversion syndrome or conversion disorder and mass hysteria. And it's the conversion syndrome is when someone usually believes that they are truly sick, that they believe that something's wrong with them when there really isn't. Usually what I found was that the treatment is that you just have to repeatedly reassure the person that the symptoms, they don't have the symptoms, and that they don't have the symptoms, and that they're kind of more of just like in a panic about them being sick. And if anybody's seen the show House, there was one episode where they're on an airplane, and I think a guy eats fish, and he believes that he got sick from the fish. So everybody else on the plane, believes that they got sick because of the fish, because he got sick because of the fish. So that's kind of where mass hysteria comes in. whereas conversion syndrome is more of individual. Mass hysteria is when everybody else believes that. So when House actually told them, like, for you to have this illness, or for you to have this, like, these sort of symptoms, your hands have to shake. And then after that, a lot of them that said that they were sick as well actually had their hands starting to shake. And that's kind of going back to what his diagnosis was of conversion syndrome and mass hysteria, because they were only acting like that because they thought that they were sick. And with history, I looked at end of the world prophecies and just like civil rights kind of events. But the end of the world prophecies, I looked at when somebody or an organization of some sort actually prophesied that there was going to be the end of the world or judgment day of some sort, and kind of how followers or believers of those prophecies changed their story. And one was of a Chinese man who is sort of still building an ark for the Mayan apocalypse that's supposed to be on December 21st. And he spent his whole life savings, I think it was around $150,000, to build an ark, because he was so afraid that the Mayan apocalypse will happen and that his house will flood. And he wanted a place for him and his family to go if that were to happen. And I thought it was actually kind of funny, because he actually said that if it doesn't happen, then it would just be a tourist attraction. And it got me into thinking about why he was so set on his belief that this would actually happen, but then yet he had an ulterior motive just in case the apocalypse didn't happen. And this is meant to be incidents. But Camping's Judgment Day prophecy happened last year. I don't know if a lot of you guys have heard about it, but it was during May or June, and he prophesied that during that time, it was supposed to be Judgment Day, world was supposed to end, and a lot of people tried to commit suicide. They tried to kill their loved ones as well as themselves. A lot of people quit their jobs. A lot of people spent their life savings on billboards and flyers and stuff like that to notify countries and nations and all of that it was supposed to be Judgment Day. And when that day came and went, nothing happened, and he said that he just kind of got his dates wrong. And with Little Rock Nine and Rosa Parks, I just kind of took it more as a kind of a positive spin to the knowledge of future, because with Little Rock Nine, they knew that going to the school that they were going to go to, they knew that they would probably be ridiculed. They'll probably have physical harm done to them, but they still went, and a lot of them said it because they wanted a better education. And Rosa Parks knew that if she sat in the seat, she knew what would probably happen, that she could possibly be imprisoned and so forth, but she still sat there because she felt that it wasn't right for her to have sat there first, and then she had to move. And one quick video that I wanted to show is of Vincent van Gogh, and well, it's not really Vincent van Gogh, but it's a Doctor Who episode that follows Vincent van Gogh, and I'm just going to play this video.
Say so, but I just wondered, between you and me, in 100 words, where do you think Van Gogh rates in the history of art?
Well, big question, but to me, Van Gogh is the finest painter of the moment. Certainly the most popular great painter of all time, the most beloved. His command of colour, the most magnificent. He transformed the pain of his tormented life into ecstatic beauty. Pain is easy to portray. To use your passion and pain to portray the ecstasy and joy and magnificence of our world. No one had ever done it before. Perhaps no one ever will again. To my mind, that strange, wild man who roamed the fields of Provence was not only the world's greatest artist, but also one of the greatest men who ever lived.
And so throughout that episode, it was showing that he felt really bad about himself, and he felt like his artwork had no value. And that kind of got me into thinking about a tangent question, which was what would change in a person's ventures if they knew the outcome to it. So if he really did know what his art would mean to a